So now you have a good list of the top interests you have. In this list, we are going to go ahead and do some deep dive research around and narrow down the #1 interest we need to go into and build a YouTube channel around. So let's start with one of the biggest methods I recommend, which is using Google Trends. So what exactly is Google Trends? Google has a tool that allows you to see the amount of volume people are searching for a specific thing. This will help you to understand behavior patterns with trends on YouTube. It will also allow you to see which specific interest out of your list that you came up with for a YouTube channel direction that has the most views in it. So let's go ahead and dive into my computer and I'll break down how to use Google Trends. Okay, so the website URL is trends.google.com. That's how you'll get to this page. But pretty much on this page, we'll go ahead and search for, let's just use 2 niches as an example. You're gonna take your top 5 niches and search all of them, but for this video, I'm just gonna show you 2 niches. So let's say I'm thinking about going into basketball, or I'm also thinking about going into football, and I don't know which niche I want to go into. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to search basketball right here, and what's going to end up happening is you're going to see a little bit of kind of like the spikes, the timeline. You're going to see pretty much the trends, how many views, or in general, how much people want to watch or search up that specific keyword is pretty much what's going on right here. What I usually try to do though is I go from web search to YouTube search. I'd like to do that just because that's what we're going into. We're going into, YouTube, not Google. And so that way it will give you a little bit better idea of like the trends of like how frequently someone searches for that specific thing. One thing to keep in mind in this scenario, if you're going into basketball, try to figure out if there's other keywords for that specific interest that you didn't think about. Here's an example. Basketball and NBA, those are the two, they're the same thing pretty much. It's just one is a league. Most likely what people are searching for is the NBA and not basketball. And so if you search for NBA, that will give you a more accurate prediction of what kind of trend is happening. The same goes for football. Football, I wouldn't necessarily search for football because football will end up giving me some people from Europe. You know how Europe, they name everything football for soccer, but in America, we call it football and it's a completely different sport. I don't know why we do that to ourselves, but so in that scenario, that would probably make football more popular, but that's not what I'm trying to focus on. I'm trying to focus on the American sport football. So what I would search for is the league, NFL. That's the American Football League. So I would search for NFL, and then we could get a more accurate prediction of what's more popular. And as you can see right here, guys, NBA, like based on YouTube search, NBA is actually searched highly more than NFL. NFL is actually less likely to be searched upon than NBA, which is very interesting to look into. What I usually like to do is I like to go ahead and select last 5 years. I usually try to do that, past 5 years, because it'll give me a more accurate prediction of what's going on with the trends, where it might end up going in the future. I just want to make sure whatever niche I go into, it has a good longevity and future in it. But you can see here, guys, like NBA seems like it's actually way more popular than NFL. And so if I had those 2 interests, basketball and football, or NBA and NFL, on my interest top 5 list of niches I want to go into, I would probably prefer NBA just because there's more of a frequency and high volume of people searching and wanting to watch that content than it seems like NFL. And so that's kind of the basis I go based around, is I use Google Trends to figure that out. So go ahead and do that for yourself, guys, and then I'll go ahead and see you guys in the next video.